Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Thanks for joining us in our second roadshow for our cohort 3 of ScaleUp Accelerator. I'm Celia, Managing Partner of ScaleUp Malaysia, and I will be hosting you guys today with 3 very handsome gentlemen. For a start, I'm just going to share with you my screen to just let you guys know the agenda for today. Just bear with me just a minute. Here we go. So thank you for joining us again this morning. It's a really nice morning. I believe all of us are stuck at home. I hope we will be able to entertain you over the next 1 hour. So welcome to cohort 3 of ScaleUp Malaysia. The agenda for today, it's arrival of guests. I believe you guys are the ones who are online live with us are here already. I'm doing the welcoming speech right now. Subsequent to this, I'm just going to go through a bit about ScaleUp Malaysia for those of you who don't know about us already. I think there is a bit of a change. I'm going to go straight into a fireside chat with, again, the 3 handsome gentlemen that I'm honored to have with me on the show today. We will be discussing about how they went regional, and then we will then follow by a program briefing, and we'll open the floor to Q&A before we close for the day, and you guys can all go for your lunch. All right? So I'm going to go and talk about us, about ScaleUp Malaysia. So who we are. We are an accelerator that focuses on scale-ups. And what do we mean by scale-up? We basically look for companies to join us if you do have a product market fit already, and you are already currently generating revenue. Here we put a minimum of at least 300,000 in the last 12 months. But if you do fit some of the other criteria on a case-to-case basis, we will also consider. We are also looking out for strong founders and team. To me personally, this is actually one of the main criteria when I look at companies that should join the Scale Accelerator program. And 4th criteria that we look at is that you must have a business that you are able to at least scale regionally to ASEAN, if not beyond. And subsequently, you must be addressing a large market with the solution that you are currently having. So there will be 20 companies that we will select to join our program. And so you will be competing with quite a number. As of to date, we have received quite good numbers of applications. So yeah, so at the end of this show today at 12, if you can spend the rest of the day over the weekend to then also fill up the application to join the program. So who we are, these are the team that has brought you the ScaleUp Malaysia Accelerator program. So we are founded by both Dr. Siva Palan as well as Renuka Sena, who are the veteran in sort of the entrepreneur ecosystem. With the rest of us, we have actually coached more than 1,000 startups. And also on top of that, I think it's actually very important for us to know that this founders, all of us have actually founded 9 companies and exited 7 companies. And if you're in this program, you get what we have here, like, for the next 24 months, if you are then invested by us, you have access to an external CSO, CFO, CTO, CIO, and CMO. You can tap into any of our expertise during the program itself. So our investee companies from ScaleUp, so this is our cohort 3 opening. So we have actually done 2 cohorts already today. And today, the 3 gentlemen that are joining me, they are all from our cohort 1. And if you see over here, some of the key highlights is that 6 of them actually raised funding already subsequent to our round. And all of them continue to grow despite the pandemic that we're going through right now. And a lot of them have actually beaten last year's revenue. Total asset under management growth for us has been more than 5 times. This was our recent cohort graduates, and these are our top 10 companies. They were selected from 200 companies that actually applied to us, and they have collectively raised 8 million ringgit during the program itself with us. They comprises of like a very mixed group of like in terms of gender, race, and ethnicity. We did have quite a number of female founders and co-founders in our cohort too. And this group of companies, they were very much focused on post-COVID challenges. And in cohort 2, one of the differentiator as well is that we had an exclusive partner with us, which is Quest Ventures, which is a regional VC based out of Singapore. So why we would like you guys to join us, and probably the best is actually to hear from the guys who've been through the program and who are now still continue to be part of our alumni. Patrick of Tunneling actually said that it's like an MBA in 3 months. I hope it was a good MBA session for him. And Mo, he said that, they have recorded their highest revenue yet, and he is still growing very exponentially. Homa, our female co-founder here, mentioned that the coaches are very hands-on. Yes, we are very, very hands-on. And Hubert from Quad B, who was actually one of our hosts in the last roadshow, he said something like, we usually hear accelerators like this in Silicon Valley. So I hope this is like convincing enough for you guys to, after this session today, you will sort of put in your application to ScaleUp Malaysia Cohort 3. We are also actively investing. So with the 2 cohorts today, we are now known as one of the most active investor in Southeast Asia. We are ranked number 15. I think in the list of the top 15, we are the only Malaysia investor that falls within this top 15. They are actively investing into companies in terms of the numbers of companies that we actually support. So what is Cohort 3? It is sort of the same program, but it is supercharged, right? So we will still have our 3 to 4 months high touch program for 20 companies that get selected into the program. This time around, we also have additional program partners that will add value and support to the companies who join us in Cohort 3. One of our key program partner is Magic. For those who don't know Magic, they are a government agency under the Ministry of Science. And with their partnership, companies that actually join Cohort 3 will have access directly to the National Technology Innovation Sandbox, as well as the Global Market Feed program. So if you want to sort of understand a little bit more in terms of what these 2 programs are, feel free to also hop over to the Magic website to actually take a look at it. These are our other partners, both local as well as international partners that will be coming in Cohort 3, providing various different sort of services and solutions to support our companies all the way from talent to cloud to accounting to potential banking facilities and also development assistance and all. So these are some of the things that you can expect out of this program. And of course, I mean, like with most accelerators, besides going through it, there will be investments that will be made into the companies. This time around, instead of just one, we have 2 great investors. So they are both regional VCs with global reach, and they do have a strong portfolio of investment in both Malaysia as well as in ASEAN. And they will definitely be able to sort of provide access into other foreign markets because of their exposures in those markets. So if you want to know who they are, it is sort of under wrap at the moment. We will be doing an official launch of this and announcing our 2 great investors on the 24th of August. Follow us on social media and then, register for the launch and find out who they are. And on top of that, if that's not enough of a sweetener, if you get into this program and you're selected as our top 10 companies, and we will run a demo day partners event, which we will then introduce you to or access to all of these partners that we work with. So I think some of these names are really big names, and I believe some of you would have heard most of them already. So let's make this happen. Just do a summary. We are a 3 months proven program to actually help startups scale. And it's very structured. We have a world-class team that actually will help you with this. And I would potentially also add like the alumni support is also extremely important. And we already have sort of 21 companies that are in the alumni, and you can sort of work with them as well and learn together. Of course, there is a strategic investment of 250,000 that will come in from the VC as well as ScaleUp Malaysia. As I mentioned, and all the C-level support that you will get post-investment. And lastly, the ecosystem networking, both investors, corporates, partners, and again, I mentioned like the alumni that's actually in the ScaleUp Malaysia family already. So after this, if you missed this, do potentially go over to our website. You will get the link to, put in your applications to ScaleUp Malaysia Cohort 3. So I hope that was clear, and I'm just going to stop sharing so that we can now move on to the very exciting part of the day, which is actually the fireside chat. And I would like to welcome the three handsome gentlemen to come on screen with me this morning. Can we bring the three gentlemen on screen, please? There they are, coming on. Good morning, boys.
Good morning, Zilia.
Morning, Zilia.
Good morning.
Morning. So for today's fireside chat, the topic is about how I've gone regional. So we have actually picked these three handsome guys to actually share with us in terms of their learnings, their experiences, and as well as their success when they scaled regional. I have with me today, based on my screen flow, is that I have Yong from Biib, I have Biib from Agiliux, and I also have Dr. Darren from AOne. I'm going to get them to sort of do a brief introduction about themselves as well as the company that they have actually founded. Shall I start with the B first? Biib, Yong.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Yong, co-founder and CEO of Biib. So I'm sure many of you watched Tokyo Olympic in the past few days. So in Biib, we are basically the advocates of the Olympic spirit. So we believe in sports as a platform to improve social connect different communities together. So we are a sports technology company that allows users to join, create, and host digital mass participation sporting events with unique gameplay that focusing on teamwork. Yeah.
Yeah, we ran one of the Biib's one. I think Darren ran like a few kilometers. Did you, Darren? So.
Really, I can't recall it.
Means you didn't run. Anyway, Darren, now since I'm on you, can you sort of do an introduction of yourself?
Thanks, Zilia. So I'm Dr. Darren. I'm the founding and CEO of AOne. So what we do, we actually provide a software as a service, and also we are running a marketplace for all kind of lesson classes in South Asia. So currently, for instance, outside you see a lot of tuition centers, a lot of kindergarten, music school, any kind of businesses they run lessons. We provide system for them, and we bring more students for them. So our solution currently, we have been serving about 1,002 learning centers across South Asia, from Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, and Indonesia. Yeah. Back to you, Zia.
Yay. Biib, your turn.
Yeah, hi guys. I'm Biib from Agiliux. At Agiliux, we offer software, cloud software for insurance industry. Our main goal is, if you see, insurance industry is still stuck in a very old kind of technology with Unix and AS400 and those kind of systems. So what we are trying to do is to change that with the cloud, SaaS, mobile, and all those kind of technologies which are already there with a lot of new industries. The retail, a lot of things have changed already, but insurance is one of the last one which is yet to be changed with that, and that is exactly what we are doing in Agiliux. And we started, of course, from Malaysia, but very quickly we are in 6 different countries offering solutions and working with multiple insurance companies, insurance brokers, insurance agencies, and things are looking pretty good.
Awesome. I mean, as you guys can hear, like all of them has actually gone out from Malaysia and have actually, set up already in other countries. So my first question would be like, when you first founded your company, did you already sort of know that you want to go beyond Malaysia? And if you did, what sort of fueled that thought? Because I think there has been like some of the sharing that my co-partners and all, like Aaron and Doc, has actually been saying, like, most Malaysian founders tend to be very comfortable, where they feel that if I can just do a business here in Malaysia, it stays in Malaysia. Whereas the guys down south, from day one, they already think that they want to go regional. So I wanted to sort of understand, like, when you first founded your company, did you sort of think that it will just be a Malaysia play, or even from the beginning, you were already thinking that you want to go regional? And if yes, what made you think that way? So maybe I will now start with Biib.
Sure. I mean, I'll first give you what is the reason why people think global or countrywide, right? It actually depends on the size where you are in the country where you are. Singapore is too small, so day one, definitely people will start thinking about going out of Singapore. Malaysia is in a place where it's not as big as Indonesia, India, China, so it can't be fully on their own population. So Malaysia is something like in between. That's why people always have this confusion whether to stay within Malaysia, is it big enough or not, or whether to go out. So Malaysia is like middle kind of thing. That's why there's always a confusion. Singapore, no confusion, straight away go out. India, China, probably no confusion, stay within the country, right? But Malaysia is in between. That's why you have these issues. But for our side, right, since this is not my first startup, the Agiliux is kind of the second one. Previously we did second CRM. So we were kind of already clear that we have to go out from day one. And I mean, we actually took certain steps for that, not so much about actually going out straight away, but preparing ourselves to go out from day one. For example, how do we design our products? So products have to be multilingual, multi-currency, multi, so that if tomorrow I want to decide, I can should not be handicapped because of my technology. We are running straight away on the cloud, so that tomorrow I want to go out, my cloud is available everywhere. So we took some of those steps from day one, actually, even though we never started straight away going out. We were pretty much in Malaysia, and then we started with Singapore, and then after that we going in other countries. But yeah, that's how we did it. We planned it from the beginning itself.
Wow, great. Yeah, that's good. I mean, like, to know that you already thought about it when you guys were already beginning developing the product itself.
Probably the reason is because this is the second one we are doing. Maybe that's
you are a seasoned entrepreneur. Yes, then you sort of know and you learn from the one that you did before. Yes, good.
Yeah.
Darren, share your
Okay.
experience.
Okay, thanks, Divya. So compared to Biib, AOne is my first baby from starting 2015. So I think since the day one, we're actually looking into scaling to outside of Malaysia as well, because that's something that what fuel us, like why we want to expand regionally, because we want to solve a regional problem. Being excited by the market size, but the first thing that decide whether you want to go overseas or you want to stay only in Malaysia is really depends on what the market wants. Is that the problems actually exist in other market as well? So we always need to be driven by the problems. So we come up with a solution to serve, then we only can scale or grow our business. So from day one, when we start AOne, we actually know the South Asian market, the education market is so big. And most of the education providers are still working so manual. So from day one, we actually decided to scale outside of Malaysia. But scaling outside Malaysia, of course, we take a lot of measure. What actually Biib actually mentioned, like the localization of part on language, currency, everything, and even how they actually operate their education and business in each country. So yeah, that's something. So for in a general sense, like to decide whether you want to scale out of Malaysia or you want to go deep only in home country, very much depends on which country you are in. If we are in Malaysia, we always think global. We are Malaysia could be not really a big market, at least expand to other countries. But number one is we need to solve that problems, not just thinking to scale overseas or to scale regional. So if the regional problem, go overseas, go regional.
Yeah, great to hear. I think that's one of the reasons why we love you boys. It's in the sense that you were a little bit different from, say, the general Malaysian founders, which potentially we see where they just purely want to sort of stay in Malaysia, but you guys have dreams that you want to go beyond that and create a name for yourself, at least in the region, if not globally. Yong, you want to sort of share as well when you started, thinking about going outside of Malaysia?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Zilia. So, personally, when we first started, we are kind of in between. So we are looking at a wider market, a global market, or even regional market, but we act very locally. So I think that is our first step when we first started. Well, I think that for whether the company going regional or staying local, it actually depends on two factors. First factor is the product or the services we are offering. So on this case, right, if let's say you are serving just the local problems unique to this country, then perhaps focusing local may be a better choice. But in our industry, we are in sports. So sports is universal, as in, people who runs in Malaysia and people who run in Singapore or in US, basically they are facing a similar issue apart from the weather, apart from the environment and things like that. But by looking at what is happening around our product and services, of course, we always aim to expand into regional and even global, because our product itself is built on top of solving the target audience issue, which is, I would say, similar across the world. And the second part of the factor, of course, is the business owner. Not everyone has the ambition to go out, because going into a different market, I would say, is quite an adventurous thing. You talk to different people, you got some culture shock and things like that. So I think I personally enjoy that, talking to different runners across the world, different event organizers, different brands and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I always like to use relationship to sort of depict some of these things, right? It's like, you're okay, you're Malaysian, you go out with a Malaysian girlfriend, it's fine. And then, like, if you want to sort of date a girlfriend from Indonesia, then you sort of need to, is it risky? Is long distance relationship, is that going to work? What about language and stuff like that, right? So yeah, I'm actually curious, right? I personally have work with many startups, and especially when you are earlier stage, or even if you have gone to a stage where you have established certain presence in your own home country, so in this case in Malaysia, right? And most times, most founders are like daily firefighting, operations matter, that's where your business is right now. But at the same time, where you do have to think of like going beyond your home country, Malaysia, into other countries and stuff like that, what would be the main key challenge that you think you will need to sort of address prior to you taking that very first step and then going into a new market altogether? What, to you personally in your business, right, what would be that main challenge? I think Yong did touch a bit in terms of whether, in terms of like where the target market problem is there, and are they ready to sort of adopt solutions for it and all. I would actually like to hear from any one of you. Anyone of you can take this question. The one that keeps you out at night, before you say like, okay, I want to go Singapore, I think Singapore is ready and I'm ready to go into Singapore, or things like this. Yeah. What was it that you, as long as you, that's it, I got the answer already and I'm going to go the next day. So what was that biggest challenge?
May I jump into it?
Sure.
Go ahead, Jan.
Yeah, go ahead, Biib.
Okay. See, the first part.
Let me start then. I think.
Oh.
I won't say go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay, Yong, go ahead, Yong.
Okay. All right. So I think to answer that question, right, I would say the curiosity is very important. So when you have started to be curious about your product, like whether this will work in different area or targeting different population, I think that is where things, those are the things that keep us excited at night. You keep thinking, if I can work in Malaysia using this method, can the same method applies to other country? So I think that is always my burning questions, and I'm always like wanted to try it out. But again, if you look at the current situation, how to get it out is another big question, right? So we always have this issue like how we can test without going there. So I think all those things actually feel, I would say half of it is a challenge, half of it is actually like wanted to find that answer in ourselves. Like, can we actually serve that market using the same method? If not, what else we can offer? So from our side, we always prepare a few methods to test. It's a bit like experiment. We create like hypothesis and then we test
The
it.
A/B
It doesn't work, we change to
testing.
the other one. Yeah. So that keep us like keep thinking what else we can do to serve the market. Even though different market they have different needs, I would say slightly different needs, but we can always tune to it. And we are very excited to know the answer, like the result of our testing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think your testing specifically for you guys, like you had the other challenge, and I believe you break into a new market, which is Taiwan, right smack in pandemic, and without going there, and it proved like you managed to overcome your fear of dating another girl from a different country, and the girl fell in love with you too, right? Because I think you had quite good success in the Taiwan run. Yeah. So Deep, you had something to share about that biggest fear you had
Sure,
before you went out.
I mean, there are some basic things, right, in terms of whether there's a need of those things which you are doing in that country or not. That's a very basic. You have to see whether there's a market exists or not. That definitely is one thing. So I'm assuming that part is taken care of. Yes, there is a market. So three main things which I feel which you should kind of think, and these are always kind of could be risks or could be adjustments which you need to do. First is in terms of pricing, commercial side of it. You are selling something for 100 ringgit here, but in Singapore, can you sell it for 30 ringgit, $30, or whether you can sell for $100 or whatever? That is one big way. Sometimes certain countries, like we are going to Indonesia, for example, the same software which I can sell for 100,000 in Malaysia, probably Indonesia is not ready to pay even 30,000 also. So, I mean, those kind of commercial is one big way whereby there is a need, everything is there, but maybe your cost structure doesn't support that need. So you have to see whether you can come down, bring the cost down, or whether it's even viable also for you or not. So those kind of things are there. The second one, which could be not necessary everybody will face, but for us it's because we are in an insurance, so it's a regulatory environment. What are the regulations in that country? So if I meet my regulations in Malaysia, is it good enough for Indonesia or not? Or is it Indonesia has something else which I need to take care of? So that is one big thing for us, especially like Singapore. Singapore is much more regulated than most of the countries. So we have to make sure whatever we are doing is compliant to the Singapore. So that is, to me, I think in insurance, in the software industry, that could be the biggest risk that you can't take in terms of straight away going out without really meeting. The third one, which one is a little bit lesser for us, but a lot of other companies probably will have, is something like cultural differences, which is if it is a B2C kind of a product, then it is very, very critical. You may have a huge brand in one country, but when you go in another, you totally can fail because you don't match with their cultural way of, I don't know, it could be as simple as, the way you say certain things or you actually do certain things. You have to be very careful of that. That is a little bit lesser for us because we are more of a B2B, but still I feel these three things are actually very critical: your commercial side, pricing level, your regulatory side, and third one is the cultural fit. If you take care of these things, you adjust it accordingly, actually go country by country. Difficult to go all over unless you have a Facebook kind of a product. It's not so easy to go global that way, but our approach is more of country by country, one by one country, making sure these three things are taken well care of. Then we get into every country. This is what we do.
Yeah, awesome advice. I totally agree. I've actually heard of some boo-boos certain brands do, like, the particular name in your country may mean something. And if you don't change the brand name, you go to another country which has different language and it could mean something really bad. And you don't want to sort of be marketing that brand in that country with that particular name. Yeah. So very good advice from you. Yeah. Darren.
Okay. So thanks, Zilia. So I think Deep actually covered a lot of points on the localization. And I do really agree with that because not only we need to localize languages, we not need to know about their culture. Like in education industry, it's still very fragmented in South Asia, and also like a local know-how as well. For instance, some of the behavior, like for instance, our experience like in Indonesia, we get to know, for instance, like when you talk to them, even we are actually B2B also. So they always say yes, but sometimes you need to know that their yes actually is a yes or is a no. So these are the small things that actually exist in foreign countries, but it's not really in Malaysia. It's actually we need to learn through the kind of like really, it's quite exciting, it's quite interesting to learn through, but it's something that we need to take care and kind of like, not to say challenge, but something that we need to take care when we scale our business regionally. Of course, localize our pricing, packages, and also the local network and how we actually reach out to them. So for instance, like when we do sales and marketing, so when we get the leads, so how we contact them, different countries, the way how they're being contacted is actually different. Some they mostly actually use WhatsApp. Some that actually like in Philippines, like they don't use WhatsApp, they use Viber or they use Facebook Messenger. And for us, we contact leads using Facebook Messenger. It sounds like bit so different in Malaysian market. So these are the localization part that actually not to say challenge, but probably something that we really need to take into account before we really expand to other countries. We need to do as we can. We need to do one by one. We need to really do the research, know about the market, their problems, and actually this period of time actually is pandemic is like it's a good timing for us to expand regionally. Why? Because we can just open a laptop and we can talk to someone from other countries already. Before pandemic, like we have clients from other countries. Always they think that you need to travel to my place and meet face to face with me. So I only able to close the deals. So now actually people actually get to know about the new norm on the because of pandemic, we know the new norm already. So now actually it's kind of quite a lower down a lot of barrier or challenges if you want to really understand the market or scale regional cities. Yeah, that's all about our experience.
Yeah, I guess one of the good things that came out from the pandemic is that yes, you don't exactly have to, if you want to go into the China market, you may not need to now destroy your liver by flying to China and drink the baijiu, with your partners over there, just so that you can close the deal, right? You can now do it online. However, I think, in terms of speed, I guess different sectors will actually be different. That brings me to my next question in the sense that because you are in Malaysia, although they say Southeast Asia, we are quite close and stuff like that, but then culturally, there are also quite a bit of a differences, right? My question is actually in relation to your business. Do you think, and did you yourself actually then have like a local partner in the different countries that you have actually expanded into to actually help with your growth plan in that specific country? And if yes, what sort of if you can share some secret recipes in terms of how you choose those partners in those countries that you actually want to work with, what are sort of the risk reward calculations that you had to do before you sign on the dotted line and hey, I want to get you to be my partner there? Or did you then also establish a team over there? If you did that, how did you go about doing that? So again, I'm going to open it to any of these guys. You can share your experience with whoever that's watching right now.
I won't say yes now.
Then I'm the one say yes first. Okay,
Darren, you went and drink baijiu, is it?
And I hope so. We had the chance, but we're not go to the China yet. So taking examples like for us, like in Philippines, we're actually working like a reseller model. It really depends on what the network that is. It's more about the network. For instance, like if you are deciding how you want to grow, whether you want to set out your own ground team or not. So first of all, our strategy always we go for reseller first, and we see a significant traction, then we sell our own ground team. So in Philippines, we actually have a very good partner, reseller or distributor to distribute our software across all our potential clients in Philippines. And this actually is also kind of lower down the risk if you want to really do like a trial stage to further understand, because they actually our resellers, how we identify our resellers, like they have a huge network, and also it's best to get someone that your first client, to be a reseller, because they are a user and they are in your industry, they know the pain point and they can resell better. So that is something that we actually identified the good partner or reseller in foreign market. So while in Indonesia we sell our local team, it's a remote team, and that's something that we have done a lot of the research, and we know the market. There is a lot of the opportunity, so we made the decision to hire a first sales and marketing local team representative in Indonesia, and then that we do a lot of homework and we only hire that one. So by that, so that's how we actually grow. For other markets, like we actually like Singapore, Hong Kong, we actually do it remotely. We don't have an on-ground team, and we don't have any reseller distributor in those markets, and we actually do it remotely from. So different countries really depends your strategy, your end goal, what you want to establish in that countries. Then you only decide whether it's suitable to an on-ground team or you want to work on the reseller. Reseller distributor really depends on the network that you have. So good to join any networking events. Probably you could meet someone. Like I'm in one of the BNI network that we can actually reach out to a lot of the network overseas as well. It's one of the channels for us to look for a good reseller. Yeah, this is all about us.
Great. Yeah, network. I think that's actually very important, because without the network, you don't even have a choice to sort of pick on, right? In terms of who you want to partner and who you want to then bring on as a reseller. Yong and Biib, you want to share yours? Whether, like, what did you do? Did you set up a team like Darren in Indonesia?
One thing what Darren said actually is same. What we are saying is not all countries are not same. Every country is different. For example, Singapore is kind of a lot more professional kind of a city that you don't really need. People are okay to talk without any relationships also, even though relationships still matters. But those countries you actually can straight away go and try to sell even remotely also. It's quite workable. But certain countries like Indonesia, the relationships and the localization is highly needed. So for us, Indonesia is actually a place where we are not going on our own. We are working with the partners, something similar to resellers, but we call them our integration partners. Those guys, of course, you should have some kind of a criteria. How do you choose who's the partner, who should have some already relationship, existing contacts within the industry? I mean, you have to do a bit of those kind of filtering, but you have to choose. One thing which definitely I always say is that you should not go straight away jump into, on your head kind of thing, go and set up my own company and, straight away think that you should try it out first. Resellers is one of the easier way to try, whereby if things doesn't work out, there's not so much fallout, right? So if things goes well, then definitely you can think of investing on setting up your own. Because obviously the own setup will give you the best result, right? Because you are doing it for yourself. But thing is that different countries, you have to see which makes more sense. But don't straight away jump head on. You have to try the market, see how it is. Resellers or agents or those kind of guys are the easier way to try it out, and then probably you can take a decision how you want to do it. But yeah, very similar experience actually.
Good. Thanks, Biib. Yong? Yong's lying a bit. Yong, can you hear us? Yeah, he looks frozen. Yeah, I think one other thing, going to another. You can hear Yong? Yes, please.
Yeah, so from our experience,
out of Malaysia,
scaling into, so most of our, I would say, lending into different market is based on our partners. So I would say finding the right partners is actually a challenging part. So normally what we do is we'll go through some programs or joining some networking sessions in different countries, got to know people, and most of the time we don't get partners right away. And most of the partner is actually through introduction of another person who know us first through an event or through a program. I think that is very helpful, because when you are authentic, you share about your business, you share about what you're trying to achieve in the country, then you got to believe it, because people really like to help people. I think that's like a human nature, and we actually got this kind of kindness, kind of introduction, warm intro from different people, and until a certain stage, you can basically not only do one way kind of overseas expansion. Sometimes you can even introduce your potential partners on the other side to come to Malaysia to promote their product and things like that. I think that kind of relationship is very healthy. And if we touch on the so-called cultural difference and things like that, right? I think Malaysia is having a very unique position, because in Malaysia market, you have different people, different races, different languages and things like that. But most of the overseas country, I would say within Southeast Asia, they are more mono-ethnicity. So in that case, if you can prepare your team in Malaysia to use different way of communication, targeting different cultural groups, when you go out there, I think we are quite easily to adapt, like how people communicate differently, how people having different business practice and things like that. Yeah, I think that is quite fulfilling to actually learn. And our experience in Malaysia can be replicated to overseas as well, although may not be like 100% the same, but our adaptations to how we talk, how we deal with different businesses, how we deal with partners, all this actually, I would say Malaysia is a good training ground for that. Yeah.
I think one of the common thing that I hear from the three boys here is that I think networking is very important, and it sort of like brings me back to the first roadshow when we had both Hubert and Amy on board, where we spoke about community, and I think Amy shared a book about how not to eat alone. I think one of the takeaway I would probably emphasize is the fact that your networking and building your community of, say, trusted people that you can sort of work with. And also, like Yong, like you say, it's sort of like, it's a two-way relationship, right? You don't just take, you can also give. And by doing that, you build that trust, and then you allow each one to sort of grow exponentially together in the different markets, right? So I'm sort of like coming sort of towards the tail end of the fireside chat before we move into some questions from the audience. I think there was really a question from Hubert, and I guess everybody know who Hubert is that I'm going to ask the very customary questions that we're going to do in most of the roadshows. As I mentioned earlier in my presentation, when I first started talking about ScaleUp Malaysia, I think it's also best to hear from the people who have actually joined us, and especially the three of you. You have been with us from day one. You came and joined our Accelerator program when it was like the very, very first batch. And I want to say thank you for the trust that you have actually put in the ScaleUp Partners team, right? I wanted you to see, can you share, honestly, in terms of your experience being part of ScaleUp Malaysia, so that, this is like honest opinion that you guys are actually sharing with the other founders who may be considering coming into an accelerator program, and even specifically for ScaleUp, what would it be? What was it that enticed you to join us in the first place, and what have you benefited in terms of being part of the family? So yeah, I don't want to sort of pick and choose. Any one of you can sort of start doing this. If you want to talk for 10 minutes on it as well, I will allow you to do so. Yeah, anybody can go first. Biib?
Okay. To start with, when I first joined the accelerator, or planning of joining the accelerator, definitely it was not because it was the cohort 1, right? So there was no history of how good is the accelerator program and all, right? So the only reason why I at least tried to join was Dr. Shiva. Dr. Shiva, I knew him since many, many, many years, and he's like one big pillar of startups in Malaysia.
I hope he's
right?
listening in. I'm not sure if he's here. He'd be very proud.
So Dr. Shiva was the only reason actually for me when I first approached and tried to join, right? But definitely that was just the beginning. Once we were in, there are tons and tons of things which I like. Oh yeah, it's good that I've joined. I'll give you just one example. I mean, how extensive help or support or whatever we got, right? There are so many things which other people also will say. I'll just give you one. I don't know. I have not attended many other accelerators, but here what I see is that going into very deeper of the business each startup is having. The example which I'm going to give here is that this Agiliux was born within the accelerator program, 3 months of program. It's not that I already have Agiliux and bring in here with already customer, and Agiliux was born in over here. It was a pivot from our second CRM to Agiliux, which probably we couldn't see on our side, but while in the program, when with all the partners and mentors, when we go deeper into it, and then we actually had a very
Your
inside.
aha moment.
I mean, it's like maybe it wasn't even possible. Maybe I would have still been doing the same what I was doing for last so many years, and this actually transformed the whole company into something very, very different, which probably I'm not sure every accelerator program can do that, whereby you come in with something and you come out with something else. I'm not sure, maybe it's there. But what I'm trying to say is that you actually will get a very good advice on that, and to the extent that you can change your whole business because you trust that advice too. Of course, it's not something which you are simply blindly believing something, but it's like you have more discussion and a lot more with the evident kind of a thing that yes, this is the way we should go and we can try it out and this and that. I mean, that's how we planned everything. And from that day onwards, actually hundreds of sessions with all the guys from ScaleUp Malaysia, where every small thing we have discussed and we have taken actions on that, which definitely helped us in our business a lot. I mean, I full-heartedly will say anybody who is still not fully clear about their path and growth and all those things, definitely they should join to get, because you will be discussing every aspect of your business and how you want to take it further. Yeah.
Thank you, Biib. Thank you for sharing that aha moment. I believe whoever is listening, who's trying to find that aha moment, yes, you should then put in your application. Darren, you're smiling very broadly, so I want to put you up first to share.
Okay. okay. Thanks, Celia. So I think how you go with the one about a year ago already, more than a year ago, right? When we first joined ScaleUp.
Yeah.
More than a year already. So how did we go about ScaleUp? Because we actually is alumni of CGP, Coach and Grow program as well. That's why I get to know Doc Siwa is really Miss Renu, and the ScaleUp team. So the time is like mentioned by Biib, like we also don't know it's something new. So we actually just participate because we actually alumni and CGP, and we know how good of CGP, and definitely something is really we can benefit a lot during the ScaleUp program. So that's the reason that we actually apply and we successfully being selected in the cohort 1. And really the whole program is very hands-on. It's not very on like a theory that kind of like teaching on growing a business. It's very hands-on. The mentoring section and the advice and guidance from all of this, like including Ziria as well. I know Ziria quite some time ago also. So this is one of the reasons we actually go for ScaleUp. So I think this is really the advice and guidance from those coaches who have founded and have sold their companies before is really very, very useful as a startup phase like us. And like we are the cohort 1, we actually go through could be the whole pandemic together. And during growing a business during a pandemic, like we need a lot of resilience and a lot of the agility or change of direction, our business model, our product offering. So this period of time, we also gain a lot of the advice and guidance, and more importantly, the network that you really benefit a lot throughout the program. So yeah, it's really something that if you are looking into, and definitely will be benefit from ScaleUp program. So that's because we have went through this period, and we really benefited a lot from this program.
Thanks, Darren. I still remember when we decided on selecting the 3 of you plus the other 7 companies. The decision was actually made in April of 2020, when we just went into a lockdown in March, and until today, we believe we have actually made the right choice. Even though we went into a lockdown, we know there was a lot of chaos that was supposedly to happen. On behalf of the ScaleUp partners, I think we really enjoy working with like all of you, and Darren, you have been a great founder that we have actually worked with. So I think it's both ways. I think about you guys working with us and benefiting from us. I think all the partners in ScaleUp Malaysia have also benefited working with all the founders, and we have learned a lot from you guys as well. And the learnings that we have from each one of you have actually allowed us to also sort of share it with the other alumni members as well. What are the ways that work, what are the ways that don't work. So yeah, so thank you also to Darren, for again being our first cohort, putting the trust into the ScaleUp partners arms, right? So Yong, last one, you.
Yeah, thanks, Zelia. So let me give a different perspective on this question. We actually know, or actually most of the startup know, there are different types of accelerator out there. So people join Accelerator for different reasons. For example, they want like market access, they want to know more people, they want to learn how to get to product market fit and things like that. So I would say ScaleUp Malaysia is an accelerator that focuses on a more customized kind of structures. Meaning to say, there is no one size fit all. If you are looking to transform your business into something better, or perhaps the structural change, like what Biib say, come in with one name, come out with the other one. So I think ScaleUp Malaysia is that type. Like when you get in, you will feel a bit uneasy because things might change, but it's actually changing for good, because I would say the structure itself is more like the partner sitting down with you, understanding your issues, or mapping out the issue for you to understand better about your issue. I think that is very important on the clarity side, because most of us, we don't know what we don't know. I think that's a thing that all of us we don't know there is an issue with the current setup or with the current directions. So I think ScaleUp Malaysia is that kind of accelerator. It don't make you like go into the demo day and then do a bit of hoo-ha and then done. So it's more like the process in between, when you first started until you come out from the door. You feel the difference if you put in the effort to make those changes. And of course, I would say in kind of analogy, we were a piece of rock, rough rock, dull rock, but we can easily, based on our experience, we can sell to runners. We know our market, but we were not good in presenting ourselves to investors. So throughout this program, I think ScaleUp Malaysia did a good job, because they pointed us, oh, you got good numbers, you got good traction, you got a very good growth. They actually, process us into a diamond and make it like shine in front of the investor. So I think that is something I learned a lot, because I know how to sell to my target audience, but I don't know how to sell to investor, or I don't know how to present myself to the investor. I think that is one of the point that we learned a lot from the Accelerator program. Yeah. So I would say the last word for this is, if you don't know, if you are unsure, you can always apply first. You can judge it during your pitch and your interaction with the team. I think that will give you a better info compared to I'm talking to you right now. Yeah.
Or you can stalk the boys on LinkedIn, maybe because I'm here, you want to sort of get a lot more from them. Stalk them on LinkedIn, message them, get more stories from them if you need to. Yeah, we're more than happy for you guys to do it. I hope you guys are okay for people to stalk you on LinkedIn. So we are at the end of the fireside chat. Thank you so much. If you have made my morning extremely interesting. We're gonna do a program brief for the audience. So we're gonna sort of go backstage and then take a minute of breather, and then we'll come back and address some of the questions that we have actually received from the crowd. Is that all right with you, boys?
Sure.
So over back to Raj. So we
Hi,
are coming
welcome to all of you here today. I am Andre Sequeira, and I am here to give you an overview of the Cohort 3 Accelerator program. Let's get started. As an early stage company, a lot of you will have many questions about what our program has to offer. Some people have called us intensive. Others have used superlative words like transformed when they've been through our accelerator. Others still have given us the tagline of being an MBA in 6 weeks. Whatever we may have been called, let me try to give you a better idea of what we actually have in the ScaleUp Accelerator program. Once companies are selected, we will begin the program with a kickoff that really sets the stage for the 20 companies. The idea of the kickoff is as much a get-to-know-you session between the ScaleUp team and the companies, as well as for the companies themselves to get to know each other better. At ScaleUp, we really believe in the idea and importance of learning from everyone, and that definitely includes the peers you find yourself with in the cohort. The first 3 months will take you through workshops, one-to-one in-depth sessions with the ScaleUp partners, and preparations for investment. I will expand on this part for the program a bit later. At the end of the 3 months, 20 companies will pitch to an investment committee, after which up to 10 companies will be invested in. Following on from the investment committee's selection, the top companies will proceed through the usual investment processes of due diligence. However, even during this time, the program will proceed with strategic planning being done between the companies and ScaleUp. Usually it is during this time that we will firm up each company's plans for scaling in the next 24 months. At the end of the 6th month or so, a demo day will be held for presenting the company's plans to other outside VCs and corporate partners. From months 7 to 24, the ScaleUp team will continue to work with the top 10 companies on different areas of focus, from product to sales and marketing, and of course, funding and financing plans. The ScaleUp partners all have expertise in different areas and will help you identify what needs to be done in their respective domains while helping you to focus on what is important in your company's early development.
Thank you for coming back. I hope they got much of it from. So for those of you who are listening, I think the program brief video is brief. If you want to sort of get more information in terms of what the program does for you, you can actually go over to the ScaleUp Malaysia website to get more information, and also where the application link is also available. So we had some questions that came in during the session itself with you guys. And I think that the first question came from actually Hubert. And his question was actually, I do think Yong sort of addressed it in some way, but maybe Dee and Darren, if you have anything else to add on, what is the cultural differences you have noticed from other regions? And how are you using that knowledge to expand? So I'm not sure if Darren or Dee, you guys want to pick it, because I think Yong did say something about it earlier about the cultural differences and all. For instance, like going to Philippines or going to India and all, is there anything that you guys feel that you have from learning from those regions and that allows you to basically expand a little bit more smoothly? Any specific country that you've been to where you felt that you learned a lot being in that country? If I may sort of put that question a bit differently. Okay, I've been told Darren is having some audio issues. Deep, do you want to take this?
Yep.
Any specific country that you went into that you felt, yeah?
Actually, it's the India. I mean, I'm from India, by the way. From last 20 years, I'm in Malaysia, but so far never got a chance to work in India. So we were not. But this time, we said yes, let's try it out in India, because inherently being Indian, I know a lot of things about India, right? So when we went there, our first thing, which majority of Indians, not majority of Indians, majority of guys will think is India could be a software development house, and we can actually go and set up because developers are there. That is what we also kind of started with. But once we get into there, right, and we started exploring things, then we actually realized that, hey, this is a big market as well. Yes, it's tough. A lot of people from outside feel it's tough, but actually, if you kind of little bit navigate, which probably I can do it because I'm Indian, but it's not that it's not really impossible. It's definitely is doable. You need to spend a bit of a time to understand the things. So we actually now considering India as one of our largest market, not yet, potentially is one of our largest market, probably in coming years. And that all has happened because we were investing some time in there, starting from setting up a development center, but then looking it as a market. So what I think previously also twice we have said that is that every country is different culturally. That definitely is there, but inherently is the same thing you are doing, right? If I'm selling a software to insurance, it's the same everywhere. High level, it's not different. But the thing is, you need to spend bit of a time on that cultural thing, understand that particular country. There will always be smaller differences which can make or break the things. If you work out those things, then you are almost as good as the guys who are based in that country, and you can do
Facing that
things much better. And this one is no magic suddenly won't happen. You have to spend time for that country to understand that things, and that is what my advice always be. Don't try to rush for every country. Go one by one, understand that country, take it well, make it work, and then you move on to the next one. Yeah.
Great advice. I think also, like, if I can then jump in, like, as I've mentioned briefly in my slide, so for cohort 3, one of our key program partner is Magic. One of the program that they run in Magic is the go-to-market program, which I believe some of you have also tapped into that, where they actually help our cohort companies to basically go into new markets. They have do all the sussing out of the partners there that you can sort of trust. By leveraging on that, that also allows you to sort of move into a different country. I think the next one that they're going into is China. So if you are part of the cohort 3 selected companies, you will have access to this particular program that's actually offered by Magic as well. Not sure if Darren's audio is back. I'm just gonna cognizant of the time that we have. I do have another 2 questions to go. Maybe then Darren or Yong can take those. The next question that I have is that, do you recommend having equity partners in the countries you expand into? If yes, at what percentage? And if not, what would be a good partner structure? So, like, I'm not sure. I think none of you have actually sort of set up an equity sort of a stake in the other countries. But yeah, please go ahead and share. Darren, you wanna share on this?
Yeah, can you hear me? Right.
Yes, can hear you
So
loud
I
and
think
clear.
okay. So before we go into the equity partners, I think I will treat this like a merit already. So before you go to the merit, so you first of all, probably you date first. You find a good person, you spend a lot of time, you work together, you do some dating period with them before we went. So we have not really gone into the stage of like equity partner, because it's involved the equity is if anything's like partner, we can actually like profit sharing or leverage each other network. That would be the best at the beginning. So equity partners should be very long term, and at the moment probably we have not gone to that stage, and the reason being that because we are thinking that is a merit already. So we are still dating a few partners, and at least try a year or 2 or even longer. And even if the model is working well, you don't need to go to the merit. That you can do a several. You don't make your exclusive to one partner. You could have a lot of the reseller distributor at the same market, but you standardize, so it will be a pros to your side. Yeah, so that's why we don't go for. We have not go to that the stage, and probably not at the moment also. So I don't have the answer on the percentage stuff, but the good partner is like a working partner. As a network is very important. We can start dating, date a few, and over time you really define who are your good partner on this.
Yeah, it's good in the sense like, I think you apply this to business, but maybe not personal. Like, don't try dating too many girlfriends at one go. Yeah, just like, marry one wife. So yeah. But with business, have as many girlfriends as you want. It's a very good advice from Darren. I hope that sort of addressed Nadia's question. I want to go to the next question, which is just a minute. Yeah. How do you manage a team in multiple location, and has the pandemic helped? I think the only one that actually has a team in different location is both Biib and Darren, right? Biib, do you want to take this?
Yep, I can do that. I'll answer the second part first. Yes, definitely pandemic helped. The reason is the way people are now working is always work from home. Whether you are within the country or outside the country, you are working from home. So your stand-up meetings or whatever, everything is virtual. So actually speaking, in that way, it doesn't make any difference whether the teams are at one location or teams are in multiple. It's just that you have to put some kind of a processes in place. But one thing which definitely I would recommend is not to have people who are responsible for multiple countries. I mean, at senior level still it's okay, but always should have people who are dedicated for those countries. So if you have a team sitting in Malaysia and taking care of 3 different countries, try again, resources is one thing which you have to manage, but try to have dedicated people for each country so that these guys are more into the culture and all that kind of stuff rather than trying to take care of multiple countries and then doing mismatch and all. I would recommend dedicated people for that's why I say don't try to do so many countries from the day one when you don't have enough resources. Go one by one, and then you can do it in much better way.
Great, thanks, Steve. Thanks for the advice. I think we are really running out of time. It's supposed to end at 12. I did have a question from Jenton in terms of like how do we be part of it, and I presume it's how to be part of a cohort 3. So like I mentioned, we have already opened up for applications for cohort 3. You can actually go over to our website, if you can see on the screen, ScaleUp.my cohort 3 for more information in terms of applying. We already have quite a good number of applications that's been screened, and we are actually, as of today, having the first shortlisting of the companies that will make up for the top 20. So yeah, don't procrastinate. Don't wait until the tail end to sort of apply for this, as the spaces will be filled up really fast. If you guys want to sort of understand more and also listen to more from our founders, we are also coming up with another 3 more roadshows, which you can participate in. So you can also hear in terms of how they grew and all. Meanwhile, yes, so go on to the website, join us on social media, then you sort of know in terms of when our launch date is, which is on the 24th. You can also join us during the launch to know, like, if you get selected in cohort 3, who will then subsequently be on your cap table. So thank you everybody for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, Deep. Appreciate it.
Thank you.